Morgan, and I know you've joined us a little bit under duress. What would you be rather doing right now?
Celebrating with the boys in the changing room, but it's all good.
We won't keep you too long, and then we'll let you get in there. Put that into words for us, Morgan. Winning at Anfield this season already, and now doing it at Old Trafford too.
It's hard to put into words, but we have to keep believing in the process, keep believing in the manager, and believe we've got a good enough squad to compete at this level. We've shown it away at Anfield, and we've shown it again tonight. We'll be disappointed that we've conceded 2 goals, but at the same time, I think we did well to continue the game out and manage it.
What did you think your team did well tonight? You let Manchester United have a lot of the ball. Was that always the plan?
Yeah, obviously we found a way to. First off, I think the first 15 minutes we struggled with their midfield getting on the ball and driving a couple of times, and then we nullified that after about 30 minutes, and then it was just about when we get the chances, just taking the opportunity, and I think the boys did that.
Morgan, congratulations and well done. What was the message at half-time? Was there any tactical changes or tweaks from the manager?
Yeah, it was for me and Woody to stay more narrow, so we can control their 2 midfielders and then be pressed from the wingers. And that seemed to work. We won a couple of balls back when they tried to play and got them on the counter a couple of times. And that's the game plan. We stuck to it. We believed in what the manager wanted, and it showed off.
You certainly did on the counter, and your goal actually came from that. Well, congratulations, Jamie Redknapp, by the way. Just talk us through it. I've watched you score a few, bending them in the top corner. What about that strike? I bet you didn't think that one was going to go in.
I didn't at all, to be fair. Don't want to discredit Onana. He's a great keeper, incredible keeper. But when I first took the shot, I thought, he's just going to pick it up, and it went in. But you count them, don't you?
Of course.
So yeah, I'm happy to contribute to the team, but I'm just delighted we got the 3 points.
And also, I just felt in the first half you had 18 touches, 29 in the second half. Just give us because I thought after you scored, you just looked like you was enjoying it. You had the freedom in the park. You were playing almost like it was a 5-a-side. What does it do when you actually score a goal and that feeling? Because it looked like you couldn't make a bad pass after that. You was absolutely flying.
Yeah, I think in the first half it's difficult just to get the momentum going, especially with how we play now. We're so compact, we're so tight. We try and break teams down a little bit. So it's difficult to get on the ball, create and do the things you want to do, but you have to believe in what the manager wants, and it's proven. But then second half, you get the goal, you get a bit of confidence in you, and then you just play football.
You love it.
On a personal level, Morgan, it was your second goal of the season and your first assist as well. You assisted for Chris Wood's goal. Are you a numbers person? Is that something you look at?
Yeah, I've been crying for an assist all season. I have, but I love working with Woody. He's an incredible striker to work with. I just know exactly where he's going to be, what he's going to do. He's always peeling off defenders, coming in front. I picked him out nicely, and to be fair to him, he did all the work by putting it back post. It's a great header, it's a great finish, and fair play to him. He's on a roll, and yeah, like I said, I just love playing with him at the minute.
You certainly did. It was a great ball in from you, though, Morgan. And you're up to 5th again now, which I don't know if you've discussed with the guys. That might be enough for Champions League football next season. Is that something that we're allowed to think about, talk about?
The ambition is obviously always to keep progressing, keep getting better game by game. You want to play at the highest level possible in football. But like I said, we're just taking it game by game, focusing on the next opponent, and I feel like that's all we can do. Just keep ticking off boxes, and hopefully it will come.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing on good authority that the party's still ongoing in the dressing room, Morgan, so away you go.
Thank you for speaking to us. I can just hear the music's still going on, so I need to go.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Well
Thank you.
And they deserve to party.
It is amazing, though, when you look at him there and you see those 2 stars on his shirt, European Cups. It's amazing. And you talk about the Champions League and you go, anything can happen. And they are in great form. Phil and I, you actually said before the game, Phil, you felt this would be a really tricky fixture for Manchester United.
I think they've done brilliant this season. Probably surprised quite a few. I think the way they set up when they go to the big teams, they did it at Liverpool, really stifled them, closed the spaces down, made it difficult to play against, but also not just the defensive structure. They had the ability to, carry a threat on the counter, which they did. And they've done that today as well. I thought they were terrific.
They've got a brilliant start in this game, of course. 91 seconds. It helps when you go to Old Trafford to get a start like this from the set piece.
Yeah, set pieces, Phil, obviously it's the buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about it. It's such an in vogue thing. Just tell me, first of all, let's start up Manchester United setup. What do you see with what they're trying to achieve here?
Well, I think they've got Bruno and Højlund patrolling the front post, yeah. And then they've got the three markers in the middle who predominantly will go and win the header, which is Yoro, De Ligt,
They're the ones on the...
and Dalot, yeah, these three here.
Yeah.
Garnacho's looking after the pullback. And then you've got your two man markers with Kobe and Martinez.
And Ahmad is
Ahmad's probably doing the job on Murillo, but also if the ball gets played to the edge of the box, he's ready to step up as well and try and block the shot. But they're not, like we said at half-time, they're not in a bad setup, they're not in a bad shape. What I would say is it's 10 versus 6 in the box. I think we spoke about it off air.
Everyone back, yeah.
If you played a game with a 10 versus 6 in a box, I'm not sure the 6 go and score. But listen, United will be really disappointed with the start, really disappointed they didn't make first contact with the header. Yeah. And
the difference from in midweek, obviously everyone was talking about the goals that Arsenal scored. In-swinging corner from Saka and then Declan Rice. This one is actually an outswinger by Anderson. Really good delivery. There's a goal scorer there, Milenkovic and Yates and Murillo. That's where they get the problem because how do you feel as a centre-back, and this was something that you had to deal with. I know we talk about he's blocking Martinez, but he's never really, I don't feel, in a great position. He's looking, he's not really facing the ball.
He's almost too fixated on stopping him from scoring ultimately. But as the balls come in, his body shape is probably a little bit wrong. He should be a bit more side on. As we said, Diogo gets dragged to the ball a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're talking about really fine margins here, but at this level, it matters.
Great delivery. And a towering header. We can't. You have to talk about the header and the power. I just feel as well. I mean, we spoke about this at half-time. Dalot is in that sort of front. He's the front of the three, like you mentioned.
Can I just ask Phil? Is that gap normal? You would expect there to be space gap between.
Look, I don't think the gaps there are too. They're not in the wrong position. I think the problem was that Diogo Dalot gets sucked underneath the ball even a couple of yards, which allows Milenkovic to come in and tower and header, and obviously Martinez should be more aggressive and stop him from getting his run.
Because he is inside the post there, the inside post, but then by the time that ball comes in, he ends up outside the post. If he probably stays where he is and attacks it, Martinez gets bullied, let's be totally honest. Milenkovic is probably thinking to himself, this is my lucky day. I'm too big, too powerful, too strong for you. Dalot, I don't really like in that position. He's not going to attack the ball. He gets under it and he doesn't really give the aggressive nature to win the ball. And once it comes in, if it's the right delivery, Milenkovic has already got his eyes on it. Yates is going to do a little bit as well to just cause as much disruption as he can. And then it comes in, and you can see Dalot ends up in the wrong position and a great header.
I mean, potentially, if you think about it, perhaps if you rewind
that back, yeah, of course.
Potentially, if you put Diogo Dalot as the third centre half, De Ligt as the front one, and so you got your two main headers, or your first one and your second one to go and attack the ball. The ball's in the air, going to be in the air far longer with an outswinger for the back post. So if it is Diogo Dalot, he's got enough time to go and try. But listen, it's fine margin. Ultimately, they've got to defend better than first.
And I think we've got to mention as well that Manchester United have changed their set-piece coach. They've got a new guy in that the manager's brought in. And listen, Carlos Fernandez, his name is, and they had another guy that was doing. But this doesn't work for me. I'm even thinking here, if you were to say right now, there's a couple of people in the Premier League that you don't want to mark. One is Gabriel from set-pieces, and the other one has to be Chris Wood. Ugarte, he must be, I don't know, I haven't stood next to him, but he's 5'10 max. And he's up against Chris Wood. If that ball comes in there, mismatch, goal. So nobody really, in this situation, is taking control. There is not one bit of confidence in that when I look at it.
Marking is 6'5" Milenkovic. Huh? 6'5" Milenkovic.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So they're getting it wrong. Not just there. If it balls to Chris Wood, he's going to score as well.
There was a real sense of vulnerability. I mean, we could sense it just watching the game in the crowd. You could sense that, and it was almost infectious. Every time the ball went out for a corner, you felt that.
This is Carlos Fernandez, who's been brought along by Ruben Amorim, and he's made it clear that this is the guy that's in charge of defensive set pieces now. It was previously somebody else who's still on the coaching staff, and he says he's still helping the ex-Brentford set piece coach, Andreas Jorgensen. Now, actually, regardless of who's in charge, last season only 3 teams, I think, conceded more goals from corners than Manchester United. So now it's 3 conceded in 2 games as well, 2 against Arsenal, 1 here against Forest. Is the problem more, actually, Phil, having people who can head the ball in those positions or are big enough in those positions to deal with that situation?
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I think when we're talking about the set pieces, I think we can really be over-analytical these days and go into so much detail so we're almost blue in the face. But ultimately, go and attack the ball, be aggressive, and get first contact on the ball. And United didn't do that enough today.
I think there is a fear factor right now with set pieces. Everybody is terrified because everyone's got set pieces, coach. I think if you actually said to a team, right, corner's going to come in, maybe if you said to Ahmad, Garnacho, you go out the pitch, let's ask a question. There was almost too many cooks. There's too many people in there that are getting in the keeper's way. Everyone is it's become robotic. This is my area. I have to be careful. The ball comes in, I'm going to attack it. Instead of going, there's only one ball, go and attack the ball. And be a little bit more, almost a little more old school. There's almost too much that's going into this rather than... Because sometimes a set-piece coach, as good as they are unbelievable. What the guy's doing at Arsenal, what he's doing at Aston Villa, sometimes they haven't... Most of them haven't really played the game. I know at Brentford they have Keith Andrews, obviously he played at the top level. But some of them, actually, when you get in on that pitch, you've got to smell it. You've got to feel that. And like someone like Phil, when you said to him, listen, that ball's coming in, mate. Drogba was unbelievable at it. Go and head that ball. I think, but everyone's like, when you get zonal, it takes away accountability because everyone's, well, I've got my error, I'm OK. It doesn't always work like that.
Yeah, I think
you used to have to stand there and edit yourself.
To counter that, what I would say is when you are man for man, the amount of jostling and shirt pulling that goes on in the box, it's so easy to get blocked. When we used to do man for man, I always used to say that if my man, I was a second, and if my man was going to go across the front post, rather than me trying to jostle him and pull his shirt, I would just say to my partner, listen, you take the front post, I'll take the middle man, and we can try and deal with it that way. But it's about taking responsibility, and you've got to go and make first contact.
I agree. I can absolutely see what you're saying. But sometimes when I see now teams that say, we're going to get our blockers. Now, Ahmad in that situation, he's a blocker. It's pointless in being... I've seen Bernardo Silva do it. He's pointless. And even there with Martinez, you've got to have people that are going to be good enough to head the ball. There's no point just blocking someone. It's not that easy with these big guys like Milenkovic. It becomes very difficult.
A situation to watch, certainly, for Manchester United under Ruben Amorim, but also their system is just finding its way still. It's still a fledgling work in progress. Did we see how it does work, though, JD?
Yeah, we certainly did. And I think this is a good example here. We'll stop it there. You've got your back three there. They're all in a good position. You've got your two midfield players there, Mainu and Agate. You've got your two wing-backs. Certainly one, Ahmad, is obviously slightly higher in that position. And then you've got your two, it's almost in that inside left, inside right position in Garnacho and Fernandes, and then there's your number 9 up there. So that is the system that he wants to employ. And what I like about this one really is it's Bruno Fernandes, because once you can get the other side of teams, let me just clear that a second, you end up in a good position. Watch Bruno here, because he's almost playing like he's not interested, he's almost turned his back. There he is there, number 8. But what he's going to do is a brilliant piece of midfield play and opposite movement, because he knows they can't slide that ball into Agate there, but they can play to him, and then all of a sudden he can just lay a lovely little pass into Agate, and then you're off. Two midfield players are getting marked man for man. Bruno's getting marked there by Newcastle. Help me out here, guys. Anderson, yeah, and then you've got Yates that's marking Garnacho, man for man. So when they try to do that, if you can get the other side of them, then obviously you can get into a good situation. They get a little bit of movement. Now watch Bruno come alive. Pops that one off, and then straight away, you're in there. Now, the other thing I want to mention here is you've got Garnacho and Yates. He was man for man for him. But what he does, he gets attracted to Højlund, because he sees that one. But Ugarte actually does so well, because he realises in that ball, I can just, at the right moment, just slide that ball through to Garnacho, which he does perfectly. You can see that he's gone to the ball, he's left his man. Bit of a poor touch, but then it falls really well for Højlund.
He gets caught in two minds. I mean, again, we're talking about fine margins, but if he does get back rather than trying to go and influence the ball, he forces the ball out wide, and maybe they can deal with the cross a little bit better than being penetrative to the middle.
Great football from you.
It really is. It's like a passing drill, you know. The centre half, he's been nice and patient. You know, I like the patience of them. They've just going to go down after 90 seconds. De Ligt is not trying to force the ball. Bruno, nice little shift away, comes back, pops the ball back, and it's a great goal. It's a really good goal.
We'll take those as well, those little tap-ins. Højlund needs them for his confidence.
They're feeling good about themselves at half-time, go in one apiece, and then Morgan Gibbs-White has just explained to us the little tactical tweak that Forest made at half-time. So why did that create problems for Manchester United? 114 seconds into the second half. Yeah,
I mean, if you roll it on here, look, two terrible starts, 90 seconds and 120 seconds or whatever it was. Look, I thought Bruno was really good today. He really was. This was probably his only bad ball, bad decision of the game.
Morgan Gibbs White in a central position.
Central position shot, and of course he said it in the interview just then that he didn't expect the ball to go in the back of the net.
So what are we thinking about the goalkeeper here? It's tough for you to say, Phil.
Yeah,
maybe.
listen. What I will say, he will be disappointed with that. You know, when we watch it back, it's not a great watch. I'd like to give him a bit of credit and say the ball's deviated
I was going to ask,
bit,
is that maybe a factor?
It's hardly like one of the knuckle balls, or he should be saving it.
Does it look like he's shaping to shoot in that corner, Jamie? And
you can't defend him there. He's falling backwards, his balance is wrong, he's got his weight on his heels. Sometimes it's hard for us as players to analyse, because I never played in goal, I didn't even do it even in training, I just didn't want to do it. But that is fundamentally just really bad goalkeeping. He knows it, he doesn't need us to tell us on everyone at home.
I think what you would say, he's made a mistake there, but he's been terrific so far this season.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
But that's one that you just have to say. And you talk about tactical tweaks all you like, but that goal just changed everything, because straight away you're on the back foot. We've seen it before under Ten Hag, doesn't matter which manager. Then you're thinking, right, let's get back in the game as quickly as we can.
I think this is the point where they smelt blood here. They could sense a real frustration around the stadium.
A bit more confidence in their play as well.
A lot more confidence.
Especially from this guy.
Yeah.
He was now, his tail's up, he scored. That's why I asked him the question. And once you start to get him on the ball field, it's a major problem, because he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, he's a top player. He really is. He delivered for Nottingham Forest when they needed it today. It is a good ball. That's not the goal there, but he's got to be. This maybe Diogo's got to be a bit stronger there and win the ball.
Maybe that was his sighter.
Yeah. But this one here.
Actually, I'll let it go. Just go talk about the header first of all.
Listen, the header's. It's a good header. I think Martinez will be disappointed that he didn't manage to clear it. Potentially, Anderson made it more difficult for the keeper. Whether does he come, does he not? But I think it's. When United look at this and they rewind the tape, it's another soft goal to concede.
I want to talk to you. Before the game, we spoke about Lenny Yoro. Obviously got tremendous qualities, 19 years of age. Yeah. He's going to be a good player, make no mistake. But I did feel at some point in the game, I mentioned this was going to happen. Chris Wood on Yoro, and now he's thinking, I'm in a good position here. It just felt for me, and of course he's a young player and he's going to learn all the time, but these are the problems that the Premier League throws up at you. And I just feel Chris Wood, throughout this sort of, from his goal, just bosses the situation with Lenny. As the ball comes in, you can see that Lenny out Yoro now, just take that back, Phil, just tell me about this. So he sort of puts his arm on him there.
Structurally, they're not in a bad position there. Look,
defensively,
you're not in a bad position.
What about Lenny there?
Again, he's not really in a difficult position. What happens is the ball gets played in, and I've been there myself when the ball's been hung up at the back stick and you desperately know it's going to go over the back of your head.
Yeah.
What I would say there is a more experienced player might just run straight into the back of him and try and put him off balance a little bit. Maybe, makes the header go a little bit.
Could he have got a bit more? I'm being picky here.
Yeah, of course.
Could he have got maybe a little bit more
body
to body?
Of course he can get tighter, and of course when he looks at it, he'll realise that he's got to get tight. Listen, he's a young lad. He's going to learn. He's only going to get better. He's a good signing for Man United, and I'm excited to see more of him. But yes, he will be a little bit disappointed. But I think he's probably looking at his other centre half maybe and thinking,
what's going on here at this back post, Phil? Please tell us.
Yeah, it's not great watch. I think Onana could potentially get it, but then gets caught in two minds whether De Ligt or Martinez is going to influence the ball. They all get caught in a bit of a mix-up, and it's ended up in the back of the net. But again, another avoidable goal.
Yeah, it really was. And I think Martinez has got it feels that he's got to deal with it. But like you said, it was a long way back for United from that point, Jamie. They did get one. They had time. They certainly had time, David. And we felt once Bruno, this is a great goal from his perspective. You thought like they're back in this game. Brilliant side volley here. He just pings it out to Ahmad.
That's terrific, that.
And he gets in the box.
Ahmad Bright again? Is that a plus point?
Listen, I love Ahmad. I said it last season when he scored the winner against Liverpool in the Cup, that he'll play a really big part this season, and I've been proven right. He's creative. He does the hard yards. He likes to go that way, but he can do the other way as well.
And do you think this system suits Bruno Fernandes?
I think so, yeah. I think, you play him higher up in a system. And look, Bruno Fernandes is a terrific football player, and you build the team around him. He's got that much quality. And if you get him in the right areas, he can hurt you. And you see here, he's just giving the goalkeeper the eyes and reversed the ball.
Great finish.
Great finish, got them back in the game. And you're thinking from this point now with, 20 minutes left, 15 minutes left, that they could go on and at least get the point. But, credit to Nottingham Forest, they were really resolute and defended well.
Made the substitution.
Well, Ruben, I imagine a lot to think about and process after that. What are your immediate thoughts?
Yeah, it was a tough game. We started the two halves really bad, and this is really hard in this context to pass some calm to the players to continue to do the game we should do. We tried in the end with not a lot of quality, but with a lot of heart. We try it. Not in the best way, but one game we suffer a goal. We try continue our game, we draw, and then after the half time suffering 2 goals like that in this context is really hard. But they managed to score one. We try it. We do strikers inside the box, but we couldn't do it in the end.
You said not a lot of quality tonight. Why was that missing?
It's a little bit a low block, and we need more time to put the positionings. If you see our first goal was a good combination between the players. I think we after the first goal we had a good moment in the game with a lot of players near the box creating chances, and then we block a little bit when the ball was in the centre backs in the end of the first half. The second half is like suffering 2 goals, and then we go forward without a lot of thinking in the place. Is a tough context, but we have to address that also. But we have to understand that this is a long journey, and we continue to do the job.
So corners are obviously an issue right now, certainly this week. How do you go about addressing that? And what do you think's happening? Is that the players having to adjust to a slightly different setup, a way of defending, or just individual errors?
No, I think it's not individual. It's all the team. Of course, we suffered 3 goals in 2 games of set pieces and a lot of problems in set pieces. We have to improve in every area of the game. In these 2 games, we spend a lot of time there, and we have to do better in every aspect of the game to win matches.
I wanted to ask you about substitutions as well. You made 5 during the second half. Double defensive change at one point, which is quite unusual to see. Yeah. And then Bruno comes off not too long after he's got you sort of back in the match, which was surprising. Yeah. What was you thinking?
Bruno was too tired, and I want Mason Mount to play that position of the second midfielder that opens a little bit on the left for Josh play inside with Rasmus to have some combinations. Then Lenny Yoro has to go off in that minute because we cannot put them in all the game. And Nus is the guy that can control better with the ball, playing like more a right back to help Ahmad and Rashford. And then we put Harry Maguire because of the set pieces to control better the Hood was winning all the first balls, and the only way to attack Nottingham was transitions and long balls for winning the second ball. And you can see that when Harry was in the game, he won all the first balls. So it's like sometimes you want to attack or play better. It doesn't mean that you have to put just strikers. It's a combination of everybody.
And just on Mason Mount, we were sat right near you, and you were giving him really intense instructions just before he came on. I just wonder what were you after from him, and what were you seeing in the game at that point that you wanted more of?
Yeah, we didn't work in this position with 2 strikers. I just want him to be to go on the pitch with a very clear idea what to do. Because when you have time, it's just a substitution of position, and you understand that position was a little bit different from a natural midfielder.
And lastly, you knew nights like this were coming, didn't you? You said there'd be a storm, that you would suffer, that in some games you'd be found out. So is this a disappointing night, but on the journey, I think you said, not really a surprise?
It's not a surprise because we come in the middle of a lot of games. But we already knew that, and we have to, in all the journey, if you have a little of experience in football, you understand these moments. It's really disappointed for the fans. It's really hard to see these kind of games after so many times with the disappointments. but we are here to do the job, and we will continue the same way, doing the same things, and we are going to improve the team. Thank you very much. All the best.
And he continues to learn, and he's had a lot more to look at in the space of, 3 or 4 days this week. What do you think he would have learned, Phil, from these 2 defeats?
Look, I think he's got a clear identity of the way he wants to play. I think he's got a clear message of how he wants every individual player to be, and in and out, in possession, out of possession. That will take time, of course. He's alluded to the fact that it's going to take time to implement his style and the way he wants to go about things. But I think when you strip it back and the principles never change, whichever system you're going to play, whichever formation you're going to play. But I do think, if you're going to concede goals like they have and set plays, they're going to find it increasingly difficult.
It may sound like a silly question, Jamie, but how important is actually, as part of this process, he's trying to learn about his team, he's trying to instill all this new information, but how important is he actually wins in these early stages as well?
Well, of course it is, but there is actually a world where if he would have come in, we all talk about a manager bounce, and if he'd have come in and they'd have gone 5 games on the bounce, winning every game 2, 3, 4-0, I think it would have papered over a lot of the cracks because he wouldn't have learned. So probably the best thing that can be happening right now is to see the weaknesses, is to see the fragility in the team where they're not good enough defensively, not good enough going forward. He needs time, but at risk of repeating myself, he needs more time than anybody other manager, because under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they were inconsistent. Under Ten Hag, they were inconsistent. And not that Erik Ten Hag was the right man, I think we all figured that by the end, but he looks like he has something, he has a style and a way of playing, but he's going to need time to get to see which players are with me, which players want to run for me, which players are disciplined and want to live like footballers and be a professional and play for a club of the magnitude. He said it this week, didn't he? He said, look, we're a huge club, but we're a big club, but we haven't got big players. And that's what it looks like. So that I always feel when a manager comes in, don't get fooled by it. And probably the fact they're getting bad results is not great for the fans. They want to see him winning straight away. But at least he'll know now who's with him, who's good enough, who isn't. And he will learn a lot more quickly by what's happened at the moment than he will if he'll get fooled by a couple of wins. If they turned it around today and win 4-3, it'd have been like, cool, what a great result. But are we still that good?
Do you think he would have been surprised, Phil, by the scale of what he's taken on? I think you said it when we were watching the game, Jamie. Every result is news for Manchester United, whether they win or they lose.
Listen, becoming the manager of Manchester United is a mammoth task. Ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left, they've had managers come in who have tried to replicate that or come close to that, and it's been very difficult. A new manager comes in, you always want to give them time, you always want to give them, the time to develop the squad, the team. But I like the way he conducts himself. I like the way he speaks. He's confident. He's got this aura about him where he knows what he wants and where he wants to go. So, listen, I think time on the training pitch to implement the way he wants to build up in possession, to be out of possession. I think you've seen clips and little moments in games where you're thinking, okay, you can see the structures there. You can see in possession where they're a transition. They look a bit more sharper. But I think for now it's about putting that package together, putting that complete performance together to try and really salvage something from the season.
I suppose my question is, when is he going to get that time? Because at the moment, certainly, he's got a game every 3 or 4 days, and that's going to carry on with another, what have we got, 6 before the end of December. So could you actually, can he actually use these games to practice things as well, to try players out in different positions? He's certainly rotating his side, 4 or 5 changes per game.
Yeah, he has rotated, but I think he's come in and realised that, they've got the amount of injuries that they sustained last season. I think he's realised that he has to manage everyone, manage the loads, the training loads, especially in games. There's so many games coming up in the Europa League Conference and the Premier League and the Cup games, so you've got to really manage the players, and I think he's doing that, but probably suffering from a little bit of that as well.
There are some big ones on the horizon as well. I don't know if we can have another quick look at those fixtures, but there's the Pilsen one, and then it's the Manchester derby. But after that, it's the Carabao Cup as well.
Yeah,
you're in the quarter-final stage now. You're not far away from the possibility of silverware. So would that stand out almost as the one, even with the Manchester derby looming, the one he would really want to win?
Well, can you nick a trophy this season and get a feel-good factor? You're still creating history at the club that's obviously won so many trophies in the past. That none of them are easy fixtures. When you're in good form, it's hard, the Premier League. But the first one he'll look at is obviously he'll adjust his squad accordingly away at Victoria Pleasant, and then he's got Man City, where that's the first big, what you say, game where we'll look at and go, "What? I'm starting to get my squad now. This is who I need to be fit, who I need to be playing," and then you can maybe take a little bit more for that. Probably is going to be a best 11 with the players that he has right now. He's a fitness manager. At Sporting, his team run the most in the league, probably almost the most in Europe. He would demand them to sprint. But the hardest thing when you're a manager, when you come in halfway through the season, is to implement that, because you can't start running players in training, because games are coming thick and fast. You're playing Thursdays, Sundays. It's very difficult. So he's going to need a lot of time for him to get the players up to the level of the intensity that he needs.
And when you see that City game right now, this is not Manchester City of last season right now. This is a team that's dropped more points today. Might they think this is a chance for us to go and make some headlines of our own?
Look, they've struggled in recent games. Was it 7 out of 8 games they've lost now? I mean, we talk about vulnerability. They've definitely shown a fragility about them of late. They don't look the same City as what they have done in the past. Listen, it's a derby. I always say it doesn't matter form going into those games. Don't really come into it too much. It's a game. It's a big game for both sets of fans, both sets of players, and you know, if he can get one over on City, then I'm sure that will give him the impetus to go.
And for the fans as well.
Yeah, that'd be huge. That could be a turning point. That could be a catalyst then for go on and to really, gain a bit of momentum in the season.
Nuno, amazing victory for your team, for your club, winning here for the first time in 30 years. To go with what you did at Anfield as well earlier in the season. Firstly, we'll get to the details of the performance in a second. What does this mean?
It means that the togetherness, the belief, the desire to improve, and believing that we can go and compete against any team, it's important. The start of the game is very important, the way we start. That's a huge detail. To score first in the first action changes everything. But after that, I think we knew that United is a great team. We're going to react. In the first half, we were not totally organized. We allowed too many through passes. That was hard for us. The beginning of second half was huge. What it means for us, it means a lot. It means that the road that we are trying to do together makes sense, as long as everybody believes that you can take a part. Even if you come from the bench, you can take a part in the game.
So those little details, which are actually huge details, starting both halves brilliantly, is that something you target then?
No, it's something that happens. You always have the belief that it can happen any moment. First corner of the game, maybe you are not so focused when you are defending, and you have the belief that you're gonna score when you attack.
Do you look at what Arsenal did on Wednesday? So do you know that's a weakness maybe?
No, it doesn't have to do with your opponent. We always try to be consistent in our set pieces, something that we've been improving on, and thank God it came out right, because we spend a lot of time in training ground trying to repeat and be consistent. But the second half, like you say, was a big difference. The way we came, we recovered the ball, we score. And after that, we adjust the team. Morato came in, I think, closed a lot of gaps. Then was about the only thing that I think we should have done better was counter-attack. We didn't achieve too many, only threats, but not finishing the actions. But the unity of the team until the last moments was good.
It's obviously a big part of their game, scoring first. They've done it 12 times out of 15 games this season, and the set-piece detail as well. Do you think they will have picked over the bones of those goals that conceded against Arsenal?
Yeah, I'll be surprised if they've not analysed the game against Arsenal and tried to exploit the weaknesses that happened in that game with the corners and the set pieces that happened. So listen, they've done their homework, and it was an outswinger. We've mentioned that the ones against Arsenal were in swingers, but listen, it was a great start from in the first half, terrific start in the second half, and made it really difficult for United.
What will this do for Forest, Jamie? Because there was just a sense that they were coming off it a little bit. They lost 3 of 4 going into tonight, but albeit in difficult games themselves. But what will this do, this win and this style of this win?
Well, look, the one question mark when they were winning those games early in the season, where they're only winning by 1-0, they dry up. But today, to get the goals and just show that they can share their goals out in different areas, a set piece, obviously a good header, and then obviously they get a little bit of luck Morgan Gibbs-White one, but it just shows you can score goals and you can maybe take teams to the sword if you can attack. You've got a lot of quality in there, and they have. Every team now in the Premier League has players that can do something different. You know, they've got Morgan Gibbs-White, you've got Elanga that can come on and do his flashes for half an hour. But I also think for the manager, you asked about what would it do for the team. What would it do for the manager? It wasn't long ago that he was almost ridiculed when he was at Tottenham. He got no support whatsoever, got sacked, didn't know where he was going to end up after that. We thought, will he even manage in the Premier League? And he's come to Forest. It was in difficult circumstances after the manager that was obviously a hero there. He took over, done a great job and taken them to a whole new level right now. I wasn't, to be honest, I was surprised. I am really surprised how well they've done. But it just shows you that you give a manager a bit of time, you give him the personnel, you've got good recruitment around him, and he's doing a fine job.
Looks a really good story, doesn't it, right now? And they're up to 5th in the table. And we did ask Morgan Gibbs-White, you know, was Champions League being talked about, thinking about Spurs, Jamie? They're not even in the top half right now where he was, and now Forest are 5th, and it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. You know, City are a couple of points ahead, then come Arsenal, Chelsea. They've also played most of these sides already away from home, Nottingham Forest, so maybe their fixtures in the back half of the season are not going to be as bad as some. How do you see it?
Oh, look, just enjoy this at the moment. I mean, the start of the season, the brief, I'm pretty sure, would have been just to stay up. Just to stay up, get to 36, 37 points, which is normally obviously more than enough, and then just take it from there. But right now, of course, you can dream. You're in a great position. You've got amazing history at that football club. But I don't think they should be looking too far ahead of themselves right now. We often see sides, but isn't it refreshing to see Forest, to see Brentford, to see Brighton
and Bournemouth, all in the top.
Bournemouth,
yeah.
and playing a brand of football where they run and they chase, and they've also got the quality. It's really enjoyable for the Premier League. And sometimes to see, I think it was 11, 12, 13, is it Tottenham, Man United and Newcastle? It's not what anybody expected, but it's almost like a case of, OK, let's see what happens now. Man City are going to give everyone a problem because they're not going to be guaranteed top. Well, I still think they'll get top 4, but it makes it harder for somebody else to get in there.
I think Forest look like a team of the players certainly look like they've really bought into what he wants to do at the club. They look like they've got some real belief of what the manager's trying to tell them and the style they want to play. And you know, full credit. I think I won't be harsh on them. I think they're overachieving. I think that's fair to say. But my God, what a job he's done. I mean, we talk about the players a lot and how well they're doing, but the manager certainly deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, having a fantastic time, Forest, and for their fans, long may it continue. I think we were all shocked a little earlier today when there was some scary news that was circulating on social media about Michail Antonio and a road traffic accident that he was involved in. Well, this evening, West Ham United have issued this statement. West Ham can confirm that Michail Antonio is in a stable condition following a road traffic accident this afternoon in the Essex area. Michail is conscious and communicating and is currently under close supervision at a central London hospital. At this difficult time, we kindly ask everyone to respect the privacy of Michail and his family, and the club will make no further comment this evening, but will issue a further update in due course. I mean, Jamie, we still don't know too much at this stage, but the fact he is conscious and communicating, I suppose we have to say, is a positive.
Of course. I mean, I think on behalf of everyone at Sky Sports, we just wish him a speedy recovery. He's a much-loved player. He's a great character for the game. And fingers crossed that his safety is the most important thing for his family and everybody concerned.